All right, welcome to the Creation to Cash Flow podcast. On this podcast, we discuss strategies that help content creators and entrepreneurs improve their mindset so you guys can make more money, do bigger things with the world and with your lives. I love doing this podcast so much. We have a good one for you guys today. How's it going, Michelle?
My natural instinct is it's going good. I'm a little sick today. I am definitely under the weather, but I'm pushing through. I'm drinking some tea. Don't worry, you guys. I will block out all of the sounds of the glass and the spoon hitting the glass. But I'm in good spirits, like energetically, mindset wise, great. Physically, coming off of a sickness, but still great because progress is progress. How
I
about
was
you?
sick yesterday as well. I don't really know what happened, but like the night before last night, I did not sleep at all, and I know I had a fever, and my throat was just like awful yesterday. But I loaded up on like all of my supplements and tripled my liver intake and all those things. And today I'm like fully healed. I was doing yard work at 7 a.m. So
What
um,
yard work?
more like balcony work, actually. Um, even though I kind of have a yard, but like there are landscapers for that. Um, I'm kind of redoing my front balcony because it's getting warm, so I want to current maybe redoing. I'm doing it for the first time because it kind of just been like empty and blank. So I'm putting like some wood decking down and some plant walls, and then getting stuff set up to do some actual plants and grow some vegetables and things.
I love
Um,
that.
yeah, I have an Instagram video to post later because I need the internet's help to decide how I should do the decking. Um, like whether it should be like kind of crisscross or straight. So anyway, I'll appreciate a vote if anyone is listening to this and sees it. But yeah, life is good. I made a speedy recovery. I'm excited to provide everyone some value today. Should we get into it?
Let's do it. I don't even know what we're talking about today.
Perfect. As is typical. Um, Anyone who's like brand new to this show is like, what the fuck did she just say?
I was also very sick on Monday. I was like a 1 out of 10, and my whole brain was so foggy. I don't even know. I blacked out during, I think we had a meeting, didn't we? I don't remember any of Monday. Like, I was so brain fogged from being sick. So, but on a typical basis, when I am a 10 out of 10, I still forget what we talk about because that was 2 days ago. So that's kind of how we roll.
Yeah, we plan our episodes Monday. Don't worry, everyone, if you're brand new here. I'm in charge of the podcast structure. Michelle is in charge of dropping value bombs. So, anyway, today's episode is about how to take breaks. A lovely topic because I know you all know how to take a break, but I know you all don't know how to take a break and actually feel rested and not feel guilty, and how to actually make very useful time and thinking and truly like make your breaks worthwhile. That's not an easy thing to do,
Yeah.
but we're going to help you today. Did you take a break yesterday when you were sick or
I
Monday?
had a nap before our meeting, but then our meeting got me so motivated and fired up and excited that I literally had like, I think that's kind of what helped recover because I was like dying, like I could barely speak. And then suddenly I was like, I made 12 videos and I was like, okay, now I'm gonna take a break. So I took a break Monday for sure, but like Tuesday, yesterday we had a last minute meeting. Usually I do no talk Tuesday, but it got me excited because there were so many things that we spoke about that I just had no idea about. And I was like, oh, okay, now that I know there's a problem, let's fix it. Let's do something. Because I had no idea. So it got me more like, I didn't want to take a break. Like I was like, I took breaks on Monday and I guess it was just Monday, Sunday and Monday. So the answer is kind of, kind of.
Okay. Um, I took a break yesterday as best I could. I still had two. 90-minute meetings. So, like, not a great restful break when I was not feeling well. But we're both coming off like sickness induced like breaks, air quotes, not great. And we're also both coming off of like actual vacations. So there's different kinds of breaks, and those are not the only two kinds. Sometimes it's like, how do you take an hour break during the day when your to-do list is super full? Like there's different kinds of breaks and levels to them, but there's also themes and things that have to be done no matter what in order for you to drop the guilt and actually get rest or come up with the big idea or do whatever you intend to on your break. My number one thing that helped me as I was like really entering like entrepreneur life and like left my full-time job and I was kind of in charge of my schedule was scheduling rest.
Hmm.
As silly as that sounds, like it sounded silly to me. Like when I have such a long to-do list, like to put on the calendar, like nap 3 to 4 p.m. Like obviously that feels ridiculous, but you would be shocked at how effective it is, and it gives you permission, and it helps build calendar discipline too. When you see something on your calendar and you do it, you build calendar discipline. And that's really important for an entrepreneur because if you're the kind of person that has like go for a walk from 7 to 8 a.m. on your calendar every single day and you don't do it every day, like you're breaking the trust that you're supposed to have with your calendar. So when you see like take a nap on there, I promise you will get that one done. And it's some easy discipline points, but you won't feel so guilty because you're doing what you were scheduled to do. Like if I got long, difficult calls in a row and a big night happening, I'm going to schedule a little time for rest. And it feels so good because I can allow myself to do it because I'm like, that's what the schedule says to do. So do it.
Yeah, and I love that yours is like napping because I can never nap and I don't like to nap. It's not something I'm capable of unless I'm dying of sickness. Like on Monday, I napped, like I would wake up 5 minutes before a call. I do remember that. I'm getting some memory back now. But like I was so out of it and so tired. But that's me being forced to nap because I had such a huge Miami, like I was there for almost a week and it was just like an itinerary every single second and I'm not used to doing that in my day to day. And it was really fun, but it was really exhausting. So I think my body, plus I think everyone in my group like got the flu or something, not good. But my body forced me to nap, but on a day to day, like my calendar thing looks different, especially with ADHD. Like I like more resting, like getting away from my phone, going outside. Like my favorite thing to do is take Ollie on a walk. I used to dread it. I used to be like, I don't want to stop working. I'm in a flow. I don't want to go downstairs. But it's forced me, well, really his bladder has forced me to stop what I'm doing, go downstairs, and I used to wait for him to tell me, but now it's like 2 p.m. is my time where I'm typically like, time to go on a walk. We go downstairs together. It's in my calendar. I'm not waiting for it to suddenly interrupt me. It's life-changing. It's so simple, but I'm like, why did I not do this sooner? But it's in my calendar, and now we go around the block. I obviously don't have my phone because I'm not looking at it. I'm paying attention to him, making sure he's not barking at other dogs. And we take a long walk. I'm getting some vitamin D. I'm getting some, outside time. I'm leaving my apartment. And that is my calendar thing I have to force myself to do, or else I'm just like hurting myself. And then at the end of the day, when I used to not do these walks, I would be like so exhausted from just going and going and going because I never took a break.
It makes me so happy to hear that you have that in your calendar, especially because it helps you prioritize yourself. Because if I invite Michelle to a meeting tomorrow at 2 p.m., she now has a conflict and she has to actually sit there and be like, all right, so no, I'm really not available for a meeting at 2. I could do 2:30. I could do 1 to 2. Or she can be like, all right, it's a really important meeting. That time works for everyone else. Let me now take that thing, that break, and move it. I'll take Ollie for a walk at 1:30 so that we're done at 2 and I could make the 2 o'clock meeting. So now you're not like a lot of people, they just put their to-do items on their calendar. They just put the work stuff. And therefore, what takes the back seat? Rest, self-care, all the things that should really be important to us, like even cooking. I used to put cooking on there because I like to cook. And let's say I don't, you know what you kind of leave yourself open to? I mean, I don't eat fast food other than like once a month Chipotle maybe. That's kind of fast food,
That
right?
is fast
Or
food.
okay, I'll hit Chipotle once a month maybe. But anyway, point being, if you don't also schedule like time for your meals or preparing them, you leave yourself open to like quick fix dinner solutions. And if you're not able, like if you don't meal prep or you don't have like a meal delivery service like Michelle does, you're not you're not really setting yourself up to make a healthy like lunch or dinner decision because you're probably going to be like, "Uh-oh, I only got 30 minutes. What's in the pantry? What's in the fridge? Might not be great. Let me just order something." Like you're setting yourself up for failure.
You just said something that opened my eyes because I think we can all relate to that. But the exact thing where you're saying schedule in a break, whenever people are super stressed, even me, a lot of times I'm so like burnt out and I'm like, I just need like 5 minutes. Like I used to grab my phone and play solitaire, or like, I just need 5 minutes of scrolling. I just need 5 minutes of whatever that thing is to get a dopamine hit because I have not set aside time to do things that will help me naturally increase my dopamine, like cooking, going on a walk, getting away from my phone, taking a nap, like Nick said. Those things are so related. The way that we grab food because we haven't planned out, like I haven't had fast food since 2020. I always have snacks with me because I never want to be in a state where I am now being so rushed where I'm like, I don't have time, let me just grab something real quick, or oh, I'm craving French fries, let me grab that. It's an unhealthy lifestyle habit, right? So it's just as important with your food as it is with your day to day. So you're not chasing these quick dopamine hits and quick releases of like endorphins because you're so like not scheduling your time to have these naturally occurring throughout your schedule. Crazy. Good analogy, Nick.
Yeah, it's really interesting to think about. Like if you don't set aside time to do that good 45-minute task that gives you a quality dopamine hit and added to your health and feeling good throughout the day, then your brain is going to try and find these 5-minute windows for a dopamine hit. And how's it going to do it? Anything that's that quick of a dopamine hit is not going to be good. And it's probably just going to be doing stupid shit on your phone.
Most of the time, yeah. And we've said it before, but I'll say it again. The quick dopamine spikes are followed by a very quick dopamine crash. So if you do feel like you're having these spikes, most of the time it's looking at your phone, but then you feel like you're crashing and you need more dopamine, or you're like exhausted, you're unmotivated now, you're a little confused about what you should do next, that's because you had a spike and now you're crashing. And so you have to do boring activities to rebuild it in a natural, organic way so that you're not having these spikes and crashes throughout the day. That rhymes.
Yeah, that was a bar right there. Um, Especially because those crashes, like, it's like, oh, who cares if you had a dopamine crash? Well, now you're lazy and it's really boring to do the important work that probably is boring, and to like grow your business and do those things, it becomes really a whole lot more difficult, right? It's like running on flat land versus running uphill. It's just infinitely more difficult. So also, it's interesting that like you kind of bypass some of these things. You always have snacks on you. If anyone ever sees Michelle and there's not an Aloha bar and a Chomps in her bag, know that she either ate them already or she was mugged and someone stole everything.
That's so true.
Um, anyway, let's walk right into our next avenue or topic. We've kind of touched on this a little bit recently. We talked a lot about stillness. We had Jose come on the podcast and we talked about stillness. So it's kind of becoming a theme lately that like you need to give yourself a little more time to move slowly. And obviously exercise is so important on this journey, but also like maybe it's exercise for you, maybe it's meditation, maybe it's breath work. I really want everyone who listens to this podcast to just find their one thing that is like their dedicated wellness practice that they do and they use it for a break. I kind of go in phases where it's breath work it's my sauna. Sometimes I combine those two. Sometimes it's meditation. I kind of cycle in and out of them based on what's feeling good right now. But you guys have to have one that is just your default and it's your habit, so that when you need a break, you're not having to consciously decide what to do. Your body just needs to go and do it
Yeah.
because it's habit.
Yeah. Your body will crave it and know that it's going to be helpful for it.
What would you say right now, aside from the walks with Ollie, is your like, uh-oh, like I need a break, I need a little reset? What do you go do?
I don't know if I see it as like I need a break or a reset, but I will always, even today, I feel like not good waking up, but I will get on my under desk walking pad without a doubt. And I guess that counts as exercise, but I'm not doing it to exercise. I'm doing it to get my body moving, because with ADHD, it is so crucial to exercise. It helps with the chemicals in the brain, especially dopamine, because ADHD people metabolize it faster than other people. So for me, when I start to feel that, I'm like, where's my walking pad? Let me go hop on it. Even if I don't have my desk, I'll just hop on it on the ground. You know, if I had to edit a video, I'll edit a video. If I just need to stand there, if I need to watch something, usually in the evening, I'll just hop on the walking pad. To me, it's similar, I guess, to walking outside with Ollie, but it is a very simple thing that I've been doing since 2022, and it is 2025.
It's a long time. That must be a pretty effective one right there. It's funny because like one time I was staying with Michelle, and I forget what it was, but like you were like having a little bit of a stressful day or morning or something, and I was staying in like your extra bedroom, and the walking pad was in there, and I like wheeled it out and like put it below the desk because I was like, she's gonna be needing this for sure. And then like, you like saw that, and it was, I don't know, it was just, we had a really funny moment
You,
because that's your thing.
yeah, and you know it's my thing. But I saw it and I was like, wow, this is just what I needed. Like it was exactly what I needed. That is something that will always be. I mean, I say always, it has been for years, but that is something that is just such a simple thing that I already have access to, that I can use when I'm home. Obviously, I can't do that if I'm like out and about, but how often do I go out and about? Not very often.
And it's important too. I think we had one podcast episode where we really dove into this for a while, but I need you guys to make it easy to access this thing that you lean on. Like Michelle leaves her walking pad out. Only because I was there did it end up like she was filming a video and like it got moved, but she leaves it out. And your Pilates machine, you leave it out because you create then less friction between you and the wellness practice. So when you need a break, it's not like you have to like, oh, the Pilates machine is in the closet, I got to drag it out and it's heavy and I got to pull the pins out and put them back in. And like the more friction you have between things, the less likely you are to do it. So I want you guys to put friction in between the things like that give you a quick dopamine hit, like your phone. Don't keep your phone on you all the time. Leave it in another room sometimes. One thing that helps me is moving my phone charger across the room because it's probably next to your bed right now if you're listening to this. And like by doing that, it's just so easy. There's a boundary between me and the thing that I don't want it to control me.
Yeah. Yeah, just like with the snacks. Like if you're gonna have bad snacks in your home, don't buy them, but if you do, put them in a place where it's very difficult to grab them, because a lot of times it's another thing people turn to, or like unhealthy snacks, because it's gonna give you a quick dopamine spike. So it's one of those things where it's like make it very difficult for you to reach or get access to the things that are not providing you good value and helping you become a better person. Like if your future self is not going to thank you for what you're doing, don't do it, or have a very difficult time getting to that thing that's tempting you.
Yes, sometimes that little boundary is just enough where you're like, ah, do I feel like getting that right now? And then you think of it and you're like, wait, I don't even need that. I don't need that right now. So it can be that simple, guys. Anything else on that one, or should I keep us moving?
Keep us moving. Yeah, my brain kind of blacked out. I see a heart in my tea leaves, of course. So I was just thinking about hearts. So
Perfect. Do we need to pause so you can take a picture or?
no, I don't have my phone on me.
There we go. That was a test. That was a test and you passed.
Oh man.
All right. Next topic. Step away and see what breaks. This is an interesting one. I went to Costa Rica for 3 weeks in February. Supposed to be two, ended up being three. That is a long time to step away from operating a business that has 40 employees and having my own coaching business on the side. I don't have to name everything else I do, but other things too. Quite a lot on my plate. I can promise you that. There's a long time to step away. But you know what? Sometimes you have to step away and you have to step out of the routine and the things that you are just so wrapped up in to really see the bigger picture. Because I gained so much clarity on I was like, why are some of the meetings we have, they're not efficient. Other meetings we have, I would need to bring more spirituality into them. Just so many insights. Like for example, in our business, we don't really have a place where it's just dedicated for like free flow conversation and thoughts because we're always trying to reduce how many meetings we have. So those two things were kind of related. And I was like, all right, we need to find time in the calendar for more like free flow meetings. Decided to name them think tanks. And I was like, but this needs to be a different kind of meeting, different style, more spiritual, more open, a lot more free. But also, well, we need to clear up some time for that. So I looked at a lot of our meeting structures. I was able to step back and redo them and minimize some meetings, and then also create space for these think tanks. And every time we do one, we start off with a 10-minute guided meditation. And now it's just a completely different energy in business. But if I didn't take this 3 week break, nothing would have changed. Every meeting would just be the same because I'm just in the day to day. There's a problem, put it out. There's a problem, put it out. There's a problem, put it out. And you just get stuck in these loops of doing the same thing over and over and over. And it becomes really helpful sometimes to take a step back, notice what falls apart, right? Because that alone can be so insightful. Notice and look at a higher level. What are you doing that's not working? Like, what is your day to day schedule like? Let me stop there. I got other things, but I want to see if you have anything you want to add.
No, you were in a flow. I'm agreeing with everything you're saying because I did the same thing recently. But yes, keep going, keep going.
A great way you guys could do that too, because maybe you don't have 3 weeks that you could take off. And it's not like I didn't work on these 3 weeks, but I was just in a different mindset. I'm in the jungle living with Jose and other people and out and about and taking plant medicines and doing all sorts of things. So I'm just in a different mindset. But we did a little exercise. I sat down with Mike, founder of Brands Meet Creators. He's been on this podcast before. And I was like, Mike, if you had to build your dream day every day of the week, starting with Mondays, would you build it exactly how it looks? And he said, oh, fuck no. Mondays are awful. And I was like, well, there you go. Let's talk about this. And we had a 3-hour think tank sitting by the pool. He's pacing around. There's toucans flying past us. It was incredible. And we kind of figured out, like, all right, well, how do we reverse engineer this? What is our dream Monday? How do we just start and build that rather than working with what we have and trying to make little changes? What is our dream Monday? And he was like, well, it's less calls. It's a little more spirituality. It's this, it's that. And we just built it. And we were like, all right, that's it. That's going to be our new Monday. So that's a great exercise you guys could do, whether you have 3 weeks away or you're taking a 5-hour break.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much to say to that. Yeah, I think that it's also important to be realistic with that. It's not like, oh, my dream Monday is like there's never any work, because obviously we should all be working. I think it's a blessing we get to work. But if you're not wanting to work, then you need to question, do you even like what you do? And should you continue even doing what you're doing? Because we're all built to work. Like, working is so satisfying. It's the most satisfying thing. So it's also questioning, like, are you doing what you love doing? Like, what would happen if you were told you get to do something else? Like, would you be excited, upset? So I think it's important to even ask yourself those questions.
Yes, and you also really good point. You do have to factor in what are your goals, and you're working backwards from there. I guess I didn't mention that because like me and Mike are aligned on our goals. Like build a huge company, sell it. That's the goal, and so we didn't really have to discuss that part. But like, yeah, my actual dream day is a little different. I wake up, I get a massage, I go play golf, I get another massage, I go fishing, and then I eat the fish I caught. Like that's my real dream day. But like that's not what I was building. So we have to keep in mind like, well, what is our end goal that we're working backwards from? What are the steps required to do it? And how do we build days that are fun and sustainable that still get us there?
Yeah. Yeah. And I like the changes you guys have made so far.
Yeah, there's a lot more to come. It can't all be implemented instantly, but like it's all been super well received. And if I didn't take some time to step back, even though like sure we step back, maybe it's not our best month in the world, but one step forward, one step back, two steps forward.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think that's the thing too is like sometimes it's taking a step back to see like what are the holes, what are the things that we've been doing on autopilot just because we've always done it. Kind of like you said, we have all these meetings, but are they successful? Are they even like needed right now? So it's almost like you have to see that and you have to be like, okay, that is a sunken cost. It is what it is. We're past doing that. We're going to move forward. We're going to change some things and we're going to honestly take 10 steps forward because that's how it works with business. That's how it works with life. And so it's like, even yesterday when I said I was motivated, I was like, wow, I didn't know all those things. Great. Like it feels like we took a step back, but we didn't, because what it did for our team is make it so exciting and like 10 steps forward because we're all in alignment with certain things of what we need to be doing, which I just was not aware of. So it's just one of those things where it's like the tough things that you have to come to realizations about are the very things that are going to help you grow. Like they're necessary. Break down before breakthrough, always.
And if you don't take a break, you won't notice those things and you'll just like slowly like issues will just slowly present themselves and you're trying to put band-aids on them when you never get to step back and look at like what is the real issue? Like most businesses and business analogies, I've seen this often. Your business is like a bucket that's supposed to hold water, but there's holes in the bucket. And like eventually you make decisions that allow you to like pour the water into a bigger bucket. And like sure, you could try and like put band-aids on for a while, but like eventually some of the band-aids fall off and like yeah, you could keep looking for these quick fixes, but sometimes you just got to step back and really be like we need a new bucket. It's not even the band-aids. We need a new bucket, but you won't see that if all you're doing is looking at the hole, patching it, looking at the hole and patching it. This happened last week actually with like one of my employees where passed her something the week before and I was like, girl, I need you to do this thing. It's here's the task, here's the SOP on how to do it. SOP is standard operating procedure if anyone doesn't know. And let me know if you have any questions. And she did it and it went great. I was like, excellent. And then the week and a half after, I see that because that was that task like kind of piles up and it was supposed to be a recurring task that she should keep doing. And we're like, oh my God, we are so backed up and behind on that. And I asked her and I was like, hey, like, did you forget about this task? Like, did I not clearly communicate that it's a recurring task? Like, I don't want to make any assumptions. I just want to understand what happened here. Maybe you just forgot. I was like, whatever it is, you could always be honest with me because it could be my fault. It could be yours. I don't really care whose fault it is. I just want to understand what happened. And she kind of explained and she was like, oh yeah, I was just like, someone passed me this other thing to do. And so I've just been like caught up in that. And I was like, okay, but that other task that someone gave you is like not a priority and it's not time sensitive. And the one I gave you is. that was my thought. I was like, oh no, like she doesn't know how to prioritize that. And so I sent her like a nice 3-minute video and I was like, hey girl, here's how I would think of these things if I was you. Think about what's time sensitive and what affects other people. Because if you don't do the task I've given you that kind of recurs, it has negative effects on our clients and things back up in that sense. Meanwhile, the other task that was presented to you is like a wish list, like AI item. Like it's not really that important. And I want you to think about like how to prioritize things based on consequences. What is the consequence if I do this one versus I do this one? Because you might not always have time for both. And she was like, that's so eye opening. Like, I've just been so wrapped up in tasks that, like, I didn't step back and look at the bigger picture. And I was like, this is a girl who needs a break. That's what is happening here. So it's really useful, and you will see it everywhere if you look for it.
Yeah, it's so true. And I love your leadership. I was listening to a Mel Robbins Jay Shetty. Is that his name?
Yes.
I was listening to a YouTube video from them yesterday, and they were talking about how we see people's actions and not their intentions. But with ourselves, we see our intentions and not our actions and how they're perceived by others. And what you did was like, you weren't like, dang, this girl didn't get it done, whatever the task was. You were instead like, oh, what was her intention behind it? There's a reason why. Like, what was the reasoning? And you're giving benefit of the doubt, which is so required from leaders, from relationships in general, because you might only see what you're seeing and make assumptions. And so I'm so happy you said that, because you can't make assumptions. But also, one thing that Mel said was like, and Jay was like, we need to flip it around on ourselves sometimes, and we need to also see our actions, because not everyone understands our intentions or knows our intentions. So we need to look at what we're doing and then put ourselves in other shoes. What are they seeing that we're doing, regardless of what our intentions are or our reasons are? Are we getting the thing done? And if not, why? Like, are you communicating the why? Because it's also our responsibility, like in a relationship, in a friendship, in a romantic relationship, we should communicate things and not always assume the best or the worst. So it's one of those things where it's like, you also have to ask yourself, what are my actions? And you might not even see what your actions are if you don't step away and take a break.
Yeah, it was really, I love Mel Robbins, but it was really interesting to just watch this unfold with her. And I was like, man, we got to give her a little break. That's what we need to do. And even still, it was really useful because now she knows. She's like, I guess sometimes I need to step back and look at the bigger picture. And how do you do that? You got to stop doing the day to day stuff. And that's how. Like, how do you take a break and have these bigger visions? Pull yourself out of the day to day stuff, whether it's for an hour and you block it off on your calendar and you call it reverse engineer dream day, or maybe it's 5 weeks long, right? Whatever you have capacity for. But you will have so much motivation and vision after a good break. Like, Michelle, when you went on your trip to Miami, the first thing you said when you came back was like, one, y'all, I'm kind of fucked up, I'm sick. But two, I have so many good ideas. And as soon as I can speak again, I can't wait to share them with you guys. And this was a busy trip too. Like, imagine it was like super restful. You probably have even more ideas.
Yeah, I would have. Thankfully, though, I was surrounded by lots of successful business owners with lots of money, and it wasn't in my industry. So it was great to be surrounded by that and by the energy, and like looking out on the 55th floor in the Aston Martin building in Miami, and the blue water and the boats, and I was on a yacht, and it was like all these great things. And it forced me to, I did slow down, but what it did, it forced me to see how the team was doing without me, and also how can I be a better leader? What are the things that I should be doing and things that I shouldn't be doing? And it really opened my eyes and gave me some really good ideas that I feel like we always have access to, but if we don't pull them out of the stratosphere and we don't speak them or write them down, that they'll just be passed off to someone else. And so I have all these ideas and these things that we could do, And what helps the most is yesterday's meeting with what the vision is, what are the goals, where is this going, what are we lacking on, is aligning with a lot of the ideas I have. So I'm like, wow, it's like it was meant to be. And I'm glad that I wrote these down because I stepped away and I had these random thoughts come in my head. And now it makes sense why they came in my head, because this is going to solve an exact problem we're dealing with right now. Otherwise, I would be like, oh my gosh, there's a problem. I don't know how to fix it because I'm doing all these day-to-day things and I don't see the bigger picture. I'm so in the weeds. And when you're in the weeds, you can't see past anything.
I got stuck thinking about boats.
I figured. I did too for a second, but I snapped out of it.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Here's another trick for you guys. Change your physical state. Changing your physical state, to me, and this is going to look different for everyone, but I'll be vulnerable and honest about how I like to. Changing your physical state is a wonderful way to see things differently. Now, this could be, I think, some of the most common ways, doing some intense exercise and then afterwards dedicating time for thought, or doing like a yoga class and then during like shavasana. Those are some of my like favorite healthful ways to change my physical state, see bigger picture, come up with ideas, take a break and actually feel like I'm resting during that break and feel good and feel like I've earned it. Even though it's not healthy to get stuck in the like you have to earn breaks. I'm not saying that, but it does feel good when you know you did earn one. That is undeniable. But also, like, I'm a big fan of substances that might just help you see things differently. And you got to be careful about like what you can do in your state, in your country, in your whatever, but like when I go to Costa Rica, like plant medicine helps. Doing things that alter my mindset and my state, it helps. And when I'm here in New Jersey and it's legal, I go to the dispensary and I buy weed. And I will very often, like when I feel like it's needed, I'll smoke, I'll sit on my yoga mat, I'll watch the sunset, I'll be away from my phone, and I'll just bring a notebook and a pen, and I'll just think. I'll think and I'll have ideas and I'll write. It can be really useful as long as it doesn't become abusive and you're using it to tap in, not to tap out. It can be really useful to change your physical state. It could also be as simple as a Sleepy Nick mocktail. Michelle, what is a Sleepy Nick mocktail? Please walk everyone through.
Well, it's the calm magnesium powder with some elderberry syrup and some cherry juice and lemon juice and some strawberry poppy and some Waterloo. It's really just magnesium. It's just like the Nello, but I think it tastes a little better.
It was formerly a Sleepy Girl mocktail, but I wanted one, so we had to alter the name to make it more inclusive.
Yes, Sleepy Nick and mocktail.
But like even something like that, where you're allowing your physical state to change to a more relaxed state, like mocktails can be great. I'm also a huge fan of mushrooms. That's a dicey one, but whatever. It's my podcast. I could say what I want. I like that one because it creates neuroplasticity in your brain, which helps you change your habits. So I'm a huge fan of that one because it helps you look at your habits and it rewires your brain and allows you to make habitual changes that otherwise can be really difficult. So like these things were medicines originally, you might have to go to places where it is legal so that you can do those things, but changing your physical state is my favorite. But the most common way I do it is just breath work. Doing a really intense breath work, or even a light one if you don't do a lot of breath work, massively changes your physical state. You will feel like you are floating. Like if you are laying down and you do a breath work, like a 15-minute breathe with Sandy YouTube video, if you don't do breath work typically, you will feel like you are floating. And you will be like, I am having so many ideas. I often, when I do breath work, I keep a notebook and a pen next to me, but you're not supposed to open your eyes during it. So I have like a bigger notebook for this, so I can just like scribble down things, and it doesn't end up like neat or on the lines or anything, but I just don't want to lose it by the time the breath work is over, because sometimes I'm doing like a 60-minute one. So if it's 6 10-minute rounds, I don't want to forget what I thought of on round two by the time it's over and I feel like I'm floating.
So smart to still like jot it down even though your eyes are closed.
I can get the gist. The problem is when I write over the thing I wrote last time, that can be a challenge. So that's why I switched to bigger pieces of paper. So I could be like, top left corner, I'm writing down this. Bottom right corner, I'm writing this, because I could feel it with my hand.
That's funny. I love that. Yeah, I think that's all great. I think even like something as simple as like jumping into a cold plunge or like an ice bath, like huge difference in your, or take a cold shower. Like you're going to alter your chemicals in your brain.
How did I forget that one? Like my other favorite, I guess what I'm realizing is that I do a lot of things that change my physical state, but like cold showers and cold plunges like created Get Ahead with Nick. I was just fully changing who I am by changing my physical state. I saw a Tony Robbins video a long time ago about this, and it was like, to change who you are, you got to change your physical state so that you think differently. And I was like, okay, I guess I got to start cold plunging. And then I started, and I was like, I'm going to start making content. I'm going to start a business. And I started doing all these things because I was stepping out of what I'm on autopilot and used to doing. But that's like a never ending thing. Like you don't want to do that, level up, and now just get stuck there forever. Like each time you want to hit a new level, you got to take breaks. You got to step back. You got to evaluate. You don't have to do things that change your physical state, like through like drugs and plant medicines, but there are plenty of healthy alternatives, as we just mentioned, and you got to find your favorites.
Yeah, when I had my mental breakdown in 2020, I changed my state by exercising again. It was that simple for me because I wasn't doing that because I didn't have time. But then COVID shut the world down and I suddenly got to work remotely. So I had time because I used to drive 30 minutes to work and 30 minutes back. So I'm like, if I don't make time for a 30-minute YouTube video, then I'm making excuses. Like, what am I doing? And my therapist was like, you need to exercise because you do have ADHD. And like, I wasn't on medicine at the time. And I altered my state by exercising consistently and going outside, laying in the sun. I started working in the sun. It's like simple things. And I started listening to like podcasts and audiobooks rather than, let me be specific, mindset and business podcasts and not true crime. Like I fasted from like true crime because that was already like what I was used to. So that altered my state too. So it's like sometimes the most simple things that some people already do, but if you're not already doing these simple things, not looking at your phone when you wake up in the morning, this will start to alter not only your habits, but like it will alter your physical state because you're becoming a different person than what your body's used to.
And this is the formula for how to take breaks and not feel guilty. Like take breaks with intention, schedule them so that you don't feel like you're cutting into things. Instead, you're following the plan. And know when you need one. Like when you need a break, don't deny yourself of it. That's such an unhealthy habit, like to self-debt because there's things to do, because the things to do never stop.
No, and sometimes when you take a break, you somehow gain more time to do things. It's so beautiful. I was also listening to a Joe Dispenza podcast this morning about manifesting and stuff, and he was saying, and we've talked about this before, but when you force things, what you're actually doing is putting up a barrier and not allowing things to come your way. Like you manifest and you attract things by letting it flow to you naturally. So if you're trying to force something and you're trying to like make it happen because you're not taking a break and you're not, relaxing in it, nothing can flow. Like a river flows when everything's relaxed. If there's like, you're forcing it, it's never gonna work out and you're probably gonna do things you weren't meant to do. So it's like, don't force yourself to continue because things have to get done. Like trust that breaks are literally what every successful person does for a reason. Like, it's why they're successful. So don't be forcing things, just attract them. Do not chase, you attract, and everything will come your way. Everything that's meant to be will be yours, but you can't do it by forcing yourself to show up and like just being so unhinged with no breaks. It's unhealthy. It's very high cortisol level vibes, and we don't want that.
I hate high cortisol vibes. Anyway, I think I told you guys that I'm reading a book. Well,
Always. What do you mean?
I'm reading 5 books right now.
Yes.
But one of the books I'm reading, Innovation Secrets at Microsoft, and I was like, I don't recommend you guys buy this one.
Yeah.
I'll give you the tidbit. Unless you're building a large business, you have a lot of employees, okay, highly recommend. But otherwise, I'll give you guys the gold nuggets that are like apply to everyone. Microsoft has had, they probably don't right now. They probably laid off a lot of people, but at certain points, they probably had over 100,000 employees. They have something called Think Week, where top employees, not necessarily by like performance, but more like by their level, the entire week, it's like 50 or 60% of the company. The entire week, they are off. They're not allowed to do any day-to-day things, and they have to think. A lot of them go on retreats while they do this, and they do things to change their physical state. A lot of them just go on a little vacation, bring a notebook, however they like to think, right? They already know. If you're an executive at Microsoft, you probably have good habits. You probably know what things you like to do that change your physical state. I bet some of them go to Costa Rica and take plant medicines. I would guarantee it. And if they're doing that at Microsoft and such a big company, if they're taking a full week of the year, every year, to step back and think, and they're making 60,000 of their employees do it, it must be pretty important. And that's not the only time that they do it. I'm sure that they do it more often, but that's a mandatory, non-negotiable one. There's a lot of lessons in that, right? We're not just spewing nonsense about taking breaks if you're tired. No, like, yeah, that's a good reason to take a break for sure, but like, you're going to get a lot of benefit from taking an intentional break to think.
Yeah, so true.
Another thing that I'm doing too that's going to help me take more breaks, I just hired a cleaning service. Been kind of talking about that for a little while. Got my laundry service down. Been playing around, checking out other cleaning services, whatever. But since I was kind of sick yesterday and my apartment was a mess, I was like, this is a great time to try one. So I'm going to see if that's going to unlock a little more time and allow me to take more breaks and do more thinking so that I'm not, stuck like doing dishes because I made a very intricate soup, or something like that, because that happens often. So anyway, I'll keep you guys posted on how that goes. Michelle, anything you want to say, wrap up, or summarize?
Sometimes doing dishes is a great time to think, I'm just saying, but you're right. Like intentional thinking, my cleaning lady's coming today. So I'm all for that. I think that it's great because I get to invest in her business and she gets to clean all the dog hair from my shedding pet. And it's just a win-win. It's just these little things. Like if cleaning doesn't bother you, then obviously that's not something you need to look into. But if it is something that you feel is holding you back, that's what you need to take inventory of. Like what's holding you back from taking a break? And then invest in something that's going to fix that and provide a solution for you.
That makes perfect sense to me. I love your cleaning lady. We comment on each other's Instagram posts.
Oh, I love her. She's so cute.
Yeah, she's great. She only comments in Spanish, but that's fine. All right, with that said, here's everyone's homework assignment. One, if you love this show, if we made you laugh or you learned something, please, we're kind of stuck right now on Spotify in our reviews. We're trying to get to 55-star reviews. We're so close, but we're not there yet. We know you guys love the show. We know we have a lot of listeners, but we don't have a lot of reviews. So we're asking you guys to help us out with that. Or maybe you're on Apple Podcasts or whatever platform you're on. Drop us a 5-star review if you enjoyed this podcast. Leave an actual written review. Those go a long, long way. We do read them, but we don't have tons of those either. And we know how many of you listen to and love the show. So that's going to be my only ask for you today. If you want to check out more things, or maybe you want to drop a voice note for one of our Answer Your Question AYQ episodes, the link is below. All you got to do is hit that button, and then there's a big orange can't miss it button where you can record a voice note. If you fuck up the voice note, all you got to do is submit another one. We will know, and we won't play the bad one, I promise. So take as many tries as you need. We love doing this show for you, so all we ask is that you show us some love back. That's it. End of the episode. Bye. See you next week.
Bye, guys.